it's Michelle Lupton here, and today I'm playing along with Craft Roulette. So episode 157 is the episode that I'm playing along with, and I really need to explain what I'm doing here, because I'm very, very sure that a lot of people are going, what? That doesn't fit with the parameters at all. So the parameters, we had to use gold. So that was one parameter. We had to do an easel card, so that was another parameter. We had to have something rhyming with ache, and we'll come to that at the very, very end of the video. But the one that people are going to be going, what are you doing, is the colour scheme. The theme word for the colour scheme for this week was cornucopia. Now, if you've never heard of cornucopia, another name for a cornucopia is a horn of plenty. Basically, it is a horn, or sometimes it's made in like a horn shape made out of basket, and it's filled with all sorts of different lovely fruits and vegetables. So most people would consider a cornucopia colour scheme to be all the colours of fruits and vegetables. Of course, that's not what this card is going to be. This card is going to be dark blue and white and gold. So how did I get to that colour scheme? Well, if you Google a Wedgwood Cornucopia, there is actually a set of Wedgwood, what do they call it, like plates and bowls and teapots and vases and all different types of Wedgwood, that is called cornucopia, and it is gold and blue and white. So that's what I was going with for my card. So you can see I have started off with a beautiful stamp from Simon Says Stamp. It is called Delicate Outline Flowers, and I stamped it in Versamark ink and then embossed it in gold embossing powder from Hero Arts. Then I cut my panel down to be, I can't remember exactly how wide it was, probably about 3.5 inches, something like that, and by 5.5 inches, so it'll form a panel on the front of my card. And you can see what I'm doing here is I'm just colouring in the background, so all of the space that's not a flower, I'm colouring in with this dark blue Copic colour. Now this is very much a Michelle card because I'm using Michelle blue. All right, so once I've got the flowers, the background of the flowers done, I've pulled out a couple of coloured Copic markers, and I'm just going to shade, because in this particular set of Wedgwood, the flowers that are on it, well, not even flowers that are on it, all sorts of images of all sorts of different things from mythology, really. They're coloured in white but with sort of gold highlights. So I just grabbed some Copic markers that I thought sort of blended quite well with the gold embossing, and I've gone into the areas that I thought would be in shadow, and now I'm just blending out that colour just ever so slightly with a paler colour. I can't remember what the numbers are, but I'm going to show you in just a minute exactly what those Copic colours are if you're interested. I know some people are always interested to know what the actual markers are that I've used. Okay, so that's basically, once that's done, it's all the colours that I'm doing, all the colouring that I'm doing. So there are the Copic markers that I used, and now I'm going to start constructing my card. And as I said, it has to be an easel card. Now, I don't ever remember making an easel card before, ever, but I have seen them many, many times, so I know how to construct them, so that wasn't a problem. So what you have to do, you start with your card base and you fold the front of your card base in half. But then you need another panel so that it'll stand upright, which will be the same size as your card front. So here's my panel that's going to be my card front, and it's just one piece of white cardstock. It's not folded at all. And I'll be adding it to my actual card base a bit later. So all I've done is I've added some tape runner adhesive to the back of my blue and gold coloured panel. By the way, I don't know if you saw, but I actually went around the panel with the blue marker so that the edges would look blue. Now I'm just using some liquid glue and I'm adhering these very thin strips of matte gold cardstock. Now this cardstock has been in my stash forever. I think it was called Lustrelux gold cardstock. I've bought it here in Australia, so I don't think it's even available anymore. But yeah, it's any gold matte cardstock would work here. Even gold mirror cardstock would work as well. Okay, so now I'm creating the panel that's going to be on the inside of the card, because of course with an easel card, when you have it sort of standing up as an easel, you see the inside of the card as well as the outside of the card. So you need at least a little bit of decoration on the inside, and you certainly need a sentiment, and the sentiment needs to be popped up on foam adhesive. So I'm attaching the front of my card here, and see how it stands up. So you can see there's a fold in the front of the card there. Now I'm attaching this panel to the inside of my card, and I'm just cutting it off to ever so slightly less than 5.5, because it has to fit on the inside of the card. So I don't want it sort of butting right up against the fold, because that might prevent it from lying flat. And now I'm just using the panel on the front of the card to line up the panel on the inside of the card so that they're sort of lined up nicely. And I'm doing the same thing on the inside of the card as the outside of the card, just adding 2 little strips of this gold matte cardstock to either side of the blue panel. All right, and then you'll be able to see how this card will actually sit upright when I actually have the sentiments on. Now, when I came to the sentiment, I pulled out a set from Darkroom door. I'm just cutting off the tiny little bits of excess here that were on the edge. I just had to put something white behind it so I could actually see that excess, because it was so dark blue. Okay, and now my card, you can see how it's constructed, and it will sit nice and flat, but it'll also stand up nicely. So here's my Darkroom door set. It's called Birthday Greetings, and I've actually stamped and gold embossed these in advance, so I have a little bag full of sentiments ready to go for cards just like this. So I chose a happy birthday sentiment for the front of the card, nice big chunky sentiment, and then the sentiment for the inside of the card says, "You're the icing on the cake." So I've actually got an element on my card that rhymes with ache. So that is one of those parameters that fits the rules for Craft Roulette for this week. All right, so I'm using some little foam adhesive from Stampin' Up! Here to adhere my sentiment to the outside of the card, and then I'm going to adhere the little mini sentiment to the inside of the card. And once that's in place, my easel card will actually be functional. You can see there, and it sits up quite nicely. So there's my card for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing my process, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye.